So I started my journey with Doug, and let me start over.
We can edit.
Okay, I go from here. So I started my journey with Doug about a year ago with his help in meditation, and I had meditated for several years, and I had what I thought to be like these fantastical altered states of consciousness, and I thought it was really cool that I could lucid dream and all these things that like I was trying to do. And then as I was at his yin yoga training for yoga teachers, he talked about meditation in a different way than I had been exposed to previously. And I realized that I wasn't being present. Like I was using my meditation time to really separate myself from my reality and dissociate. And so when he started talking about sitting zen and keeping your eyes open and just sitting with what was actually happening, I realized that that was not what I was doing. And so within a week of following his directions for how to meditate, I actually started noticing myself being more present, but things started shifting, and I started remembering some sexual trauma from childhood, from like 30 years before that I had dissociated from. And so it started being really apparent to me that I was using my meditation time before I actually learned how to sit to space out in the same ways that I had done to protect myself as a child. And that's heartbreaking. But I started working with a somatic therapist, and even though I was getting professional help, the other 167 hours of the week when I wasn't, at my therapist's office, I just had a lot of energy and a lot of emotions coming up. So I reached out to Doug. I had been a musician before, and so he taught me how to chant, and that was a very embodying present practice, and helped me be present, and it helped me to feel through my viscera, like feel through the chakras, but also like in my belly and in my throat, and just feel that sound coming out. And being shown how to do that in a constructive way was really helpful. And then later on, he helped me to learn how to play the harmonium a little bit, the little piano instrument, and that helped me to sing songs and helped me to be emotional, but in a constructive way, and in a way that helped me to express myself and express some of the pain that had arisen. And then later, after I started this awakening process, I've been a school teacher for 14 years, and I realized that the only reason I was a teacher, I never really wanted to do that, but school was the only place that I was safe. And so I had chosen a profession in this unconscious state where I could go and live every day at a schoolhouse and be safe. And I had always had a passion for women and women's health, and women who had sexual trauma, and I didn't even know why that was, but I always contributed to charities and provided my time for women's services. And I realized that I wanted to help women, but I hadn't healed enough to do that. So I actually have changed my profession, and I'm about to go to school to be a women's health physical therapist. So that was terrifying. So I reached out to Doug again, and he went through a series of nidras with me. So he would write yoga nidras, and we would get together in private sessions. And one of them, that child in me just wanted to run away. And so he wrote a nidra for me, and he didn't write it so that I could live out that dream of running away from all my problems, but he actually wrote it so that I could feel like I had always been loved and cared for. And it was just such a turning point. And that was the last time I was afraid about, living a new profession and moving on with my life in a completely different, scary way. Like I haven't had any fear since then. And then I had one where I asked him to write a nidra for me where, I needed to move on. And so not just from my profession, but also taking my healing process and using it for something constructive. And so those few nidra sessions we've had have been life-changing, and just have really helped my awakening process. And so it's definitely not done. I still have work to do, but I can honestly say like my life has completely changed over the last year. And meditation isn't going to make all your problems go away, but it might bring some of those problems that you need to actually address, and some of those things that you have buried, that will make you a more alive person and a more passionate person, and a person that can live their true purpose. So I would recommend going to his classes and working with him if possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandie.
You're welcome. Thank you.